Hello everyone, this is Philly Mac and welcome to the video. 3 things you should know before visiting America. The US edition. And by the way, this is a bonus one before we even get into the 3 things. Yes, we call it America, not the US or USA, unless we're just trying to print something on a hat. It's just the way we roll. Sure, we vaguely understand that there's another country on the continent with us, in North America. And yes, we also know that there's a country somewhere that exists below the southern boundary of Texas, and there's probably a whole other continent somewhere down below there too, but it kind of slips our mind. So yes, we are the US of A, and it's all America to us, even though we are aware that other people like to call themselves Americans too. Alright, now into the actual 3 things you need to know before visiting America. First, it's bigger than you think. The US of A is over 5 million square miles. There are only 2 countries bigger, Canada, which is 6 million, ironic isn't it, and Russia, which is 10 million. So get ready to drive everywhere, because Americans certainly do. And it's not necessarily because we want to or because we're all super lazy. It's really the way our roads and our neighborhoods have been laid out, especially since the 1950s and 1960s. So yes, we do drive everywhere, but don't blame us. I'm thinking that at least some of us would walk if we had the choice. The second thing you need to know before coming to America is that there's way more than one American accent. So let's start in the upper right-hand corner. In New England, there's Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine, and Rhode Island. Well, technically there's Connecticut too, and Vermont, but for this purpose we won't count them. Really, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine, and Rhode Island all have 4 separate and distinct accents. And if you're in Massachusetts, there's even different accents within Boston itself. Like say you're in Southie, which if you've ever heard Good Will Hunting, that's a Southie accent. And if you've ever heard John F. Kennedy, that's the Boston Brahmin accent. So there are really different accents. Then we have New York, which is just something unto itself, because New York is actually a big state, and there's an accent that goes with New York City, and there are actually several accents that go within the 5 boroughs of New York, as well as the Isle of Manhattan. Of course, there's also a New Jersey accent, and New Jersey is right over the line from New York. There's also a Midwest accent, and that, if you're outside of the USA, is probably the one that you've heard the most, because that's the one that all our newscasters are trained to have, because to them, there's some kind of a perception of that isn't an accent. I don't get it. It's still an accent. I mean, if you're British and you're talking like this, then you're going to try to speak like an American from the Midwest, then you're going to have to change your accent. You know what I'm saying? All right. So that's just the thing. But there is an accent. And matter of fact, that's kind of what you're hearing now. Because even though I'm from New England, I was in radio when I was in college, and I expunged most of my native accent. Next, there's a Northwest accent. So if you're from Oregon or you're from Washington, that's the state, not Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia, then you also have an accent. And I really can't even do that. I'm not even going to attempt it. So that's Northwest. And then there's also a California accent, which you're probably also aware of, and was made infamous probably in the 1980s by Valley Girls. Next, and certainly last but not least, is the Southern accent. And right now I currently live in the South, but that doesn't mean there's only one Southern accent. I mean, there's a really different accent in North Carolina than there is in Alabama, South Carolina. By the way, Florida doesn't count. Those are all just people from New York that live at a southern latitude. So yeah, if you're gonna come to America, the thing you need to understand is there's way more than one American accent. Number 3, the last thing that you need to understand is that the meal portions are huge here. They're like the size of a small child. When you come to America, our motto is go big or go home or waddle home or something like that. For some reason, when you're in America, the predominant thought is, well, Bubba, you just gotta have some more, you know what I'm saying? So the meal portions are gigantic. When you go out to eat, normally you can take half of what you've ordered home and have it the next day for lunch or dinner or something. That's something that Europeans are always constantly trying to adjust to, the sizes of things, including soda, which is typically sold in small vats. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Which of course leads to my favorite order, Once upon a time, back in the day, I used to work at the Golden Arches, and my favorite order was somebody coming in and ordering a Big Mac, a large fry, and a large Diet Coke. Yeah, exactly. All right, that's it. That's the video. Let us know below if you liked it. And if you liked it, hey, it would also be brilliant if you could subscribe as well. And of course, let us know down in the comments if you like this, if you want more like it, or something else you might like as well. For now, that's it. I'm out. Peace, y'all.